Live from London, it's Plank of the Week with Kevin O'Sullivan.
Oh, there you are. Welcome to another fabulous edition of Plank of the Week. I am your host, Kevin O'Sullivan, and what a panel I've got for you. She is Britain's greatest living woman, the astonishing Alex Phillips. He's mysterious and yet wonderful. It's Will Geddes. First-timer, the fab Phil Dave. And he's wry, spry, crisp and dry. It's the wise and wily Will Kingston. Let's get going. First up, it's Alex.
Oh, well, you know, the nation's favourite political programme, Question Time. Yeah. We all love to watch it, don't we? Not. But it's amazing. There's for a long time been disputes about whether the Question Time audience is balanced, because somehow it always seems to be disproportionately filled with people who love a bit of immigration, love a bit of net zero, love a bit of socialism. But somehow, magically, in Dover, when they're discussing the big issue of illegal migrants coming over on boats, ooh, do you know who had suddenly discovered, got off a dinghy and thought, I know what I fancy doing tonight, lads? Said to the boys back at the hotel, let's go down Question Time, shall we?
Let's go down.
Let's argue our case. I mean, what on earth? I sat there watching the clips of this guy who's from somewhere or the other. Fiona Bliss goes, man in the white shirt. There he is, man in the white shirt. You came over on a boat, didn't you? Yeah. Oh, you don't, it's just man in the white shirt, who she also knows happens to have come over on a boat. And then he sits there and he starts arguing the case for the ECHR, the Northern Irish Protocol.
He's reading a script.
And his English is not exact, he's just above GCSE level, but he seems to be the expert on, you know, everything to do with legislation and the ECHR.
He's got a script. I want to know who put him there, who gave him that script, what is going on there? He kept going like this. And of course, the ECHR is important for the Northern Ireland Protocol. You've never heard of the Northern Ireland Protocol. You couldn't point to Northern Ireland on the map. Let's have a look at, I believe, another of the Question Time migrants.
So tell us which country did you try to claim asylum in?
My first interview was in Turkey, and the second was in Macedonia, in Serbia, in Romania, Austria, and recently in Germany, but that ain't in here.
So you applied for asylum in all those countries, and they all turned you down?
These countries just reject me.
But of course, we accepted it. Don't worry, mate. By the time you get to Britain, the softest touch in the world, you're very welcome. It's amazing. I watched that Question Time with a sort of my jaw dropping increasingly by the moment. I had a personal interest in my checkered youth. I led a peripatetic youth moving around the country. My father was on the run. He was a criminal. No, he was an immigration officer. We lived at various ports. We lived at Dover, and I was fascinated by that Question Time because I used to play five-a-side in that hall when I was a little boy. But soon my nostalgia was replaced by an increasing sense of astonishment. What were those migrants, those illegal migrants, doing in the audience?
I think that the first port of call should have been when we realised Turkey and Macedonia said no to him. Maybe we shouldn't say yes.
But it's the way the BBC interprets it as, oh, well, the UK are empathetic and kind, as opposed to we are literally letting the worst people in the world into this country. It's extraordinary, the bubble they live in.
It's crazy. I mean, but both of those people in the audience typify, you know, the BBC think they've got really nice guys here. Or look at old softly spoken, you know, what's his name over there? He's had to go through 85,000 countries before we accept him. Oh, look at this geezer. He's really like boned up on the law. There he is reading from his phone.
Somebody gave him a script. He's got an ear. Somebody gave him a script. Who did that?
Represents two of the biggest farces of our immigration system. Number one, people rehearse their lines to get in. Oh, yeah, we've seen that demonstrated. Number two, people try every other country before they come here. So they've come from lots of safe countries. Both of those men totally epitomise how farcical our immigration system is. And yet the BBC are holding them like little beatified wonders.
And fair play to Zaire Youssef. The look of barely concealed disgust on his face, I think, kind of summarised how we were all feeling.
Absolutely. And the other reason I was interested in Question Time last week was because the local MP, the Dover MP, Mike Tapp, was on it. And Mike Tapp is unquestionably the stupidest man in Westminster and against a lot of stiff opposition, obviously. So he was amusing, but also we've got Britain's greatest living woman, and here is Britain's worst man. He was on the panel as well. It's Zach Polansky, a.k.a. David Polden.
No.
Take it away, Dave.
1 in 5 care workers are foreign nationals. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't particularly want to wipe someone's bum, and I'm very grateful for the people who do this work.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, but what a disgusting way of putting it, and what a patronising way to classify migrants and asylum seekers. Oh, well, we need them to come here so they can wipe bums in care homes. That's disgusting, isn't it?
It really denigrates the job of caring for elderly people, caring for people in nursing homes, caring for people with chronic disabilities, like by reducing it down to wiping bums.
Yeah, so what's he saying? This great liberal is saying, thank God for all these foreigners, because I don't want to wipe bums. These foreigners can do it. Absolutely disgraceful.
On the plus side, there are a collective of people who are in care who've breathed a massive sigh of relief that he will go nowhere near.
There are mask slipping moments, and there are moments where the mask is ripped up and then just thrown a million miles away.
Yeah.
But they think that we believe them when they say immigration is all about being kind and compassionate, when it's this bourgeois leftist kind of play to say, well, really, we just want all of those rubbishy little jobs we can't be bothered to do to be done by people who come from cheap countries far away.
The kindness of opening of borders and letting everyone in from all over the world is being shown by the day as the rape count seems to go up. So here's Nigel Farage attacking the BBC over its double standards.
The double standards and hypocrisy of the BBC are absolutely astonishing. At the time I was alleged to have made these remarks, one of your most popular weekly shows was the Black and White Minstrels.
These are grown adults from the BBC and The Guardian attacking a little boy, a 13-year-old little boy, the 13-year-old Nigel Farage, who should not be held accountable for anything that happened in the playground. This is sinister, don't you think, Will?
I think it's horribly sinister, but again, it's just this whole witch hunt. It's the whole sort of draconian approach of, well, we've got these new standards now. You can't apply those. I mean, I'm old enough to remember the Black and White Minstrel Show and, you know, all the various other sitcoms and shows which were on in the 70s.
Alf Garnett,
great case in point. You know,
Love Thy Neighbour.
Even Jim Davidson back in those days.
Mind Your Language.
Mind Your Language.
That was a great show,
Mind Your Language was not only racist, it was also homophobic. So Mind Your Language had it all going on. But this is all on the BBC. Nigel Farage's point is brilliant. By the way, the Black and White Minstrel Show was my mum's favourite show. But that she wasn't a racist, she was a creature of her time. Like we all were then.
Yeah, we all were. Petulant and childish is behaved by the BBC. I was at the BBS today with a guy called Jordan Bardella, who's going to be the next president of France. You look at the poll and that man is a shoo-in. So he was coming to
the
town
French will work out a way not to make sure he's not a shoo-in.
It can't happen. Anyway, he was over to meet Farage and he was doing some interviews. So I was with him at the BBC and Nick Robinson was there sort of, you know, asking all these questions. And he kept asking him about certain footballers, black Muslim footballers. Say, are they French? Is this person French? But is this person French? And he said, are you going to apologise for your party being racist? What about Jean-Marie Le Pen? And afterwards, Jordan Bardella, who's 30 years old, comes out the studio and says to Nick Robinson, like, why did you talk about Jean-Marie Le Pen? No one in France has spoken about that guy for 10 years. To be fair, Jean-Marie Le Pen had some pretty choice political views, but he was in politics 20 years before Bardella was even born, for crying out loud. Yeah. Why are they doing it? It's so ridiculous. It's the only little button they know how to press instead of asking sensible questions.
But that's it. That's exactly the problem. It's they are so desperate to find fault that this is all they can do. Yeah. And actually, I have to be honest, I think Nigel Farage should breathe almost a huge sigh of relief, because if that's all that they've got on him,
it's not working. It's not working.
We've seen the button pressed several times over the last decade with Trump. They've gone after him in similar ways when it came to Brexit, when it came to UKIP. Like, it doesn't work. If anything, it alienates the people who actually they're trying to convince that he is a racist. But why have they not learned?
Absolutely. Time to move on. Let's play football, or rather, let's not. It's your go, Will.
So this one's, I think, again, very reflective and indicative of the times that we live in right now. So this is a nice chap who's in Wales, who is a football coach, basically, for kids.
Jamie Michael. Yep.
Jamie Michael, that's our man.
Former Marine.
Yeah,
right?
former bootneck, green lid, and also an Iraqi war veteran. So a man who served his country, who's done his piece, and like pretty much the rest of us, is fed up with the illegal immigrant situation and had a bit of a rant on Facebook. Now, he got arrested for that rant. It was a 17-minute
Called them
rant.
scumbags, didn't he?
Called them scumbags. Said a few other things which were a bit choice, but, you know, again, heated statement from probably many, many people that would echo across this country. Now, he was cleared of it being a hate crime within 17 minutes.
Yeah, he was charged with inciting hatred.
The Facebook post wasn't 17 minutes.
Went to Crown Court.
He went to jury. Crown Court. I mean, just ridiculous, yeah. And he was subsequently cleared within 17 minutes of a hate crime. However, one would have thought that was the end of it. But no, it's not. He has now been barred from actually being a coach to children, and including a coach to his own daughter. Isn't that correct?
So it's a kids' football team that he coached out of the kindness of his heart, including his daughter. And he was referred to these people who decide whether or not you can or you're appropriate to work with children. And even though he was completely acquitted in 17 minutes by the Crown Court, ridiculous, should never have gone to court, obviously, it has been decided by those who decide that he is not allowed to work with children. So he can't coach his own daughter in a football team. This is a hero from the Iraq War who is a completely innocent man, as proven by the Crown Court's decision. Here he is talking.
The bank won't tell me why either, but I've been debanked from my bank account as well.
Wow.
And they won't give me a reason why.
You've been debanked because you dared to make a video showing your concerns over illegal immigration.
That's what we do to people who fight for their country.
This is the major problem. Now, this debanking thing, obviously Nigel had this whole experience as well, and a few other people, and a few people I know have been debanked. And one of the biggest concerns, and this should be addressed with the Banking Ombudsman and also with the FCA, how banks can, without reason, without due course, or without being able to give a justification or obligated to give a justification to people as to how they can debank them. Now, because ultimately there has to be a process to appeal that in the event that, and again, look at the criteria of what it constitutes, because otherwise any one of us could be debanked like that.
Yeah, well, they tried to debank me, my bank, and I said,
well, I can't blame
I was furious. I said, right, I'll take my overdraft elsewhere. But seriously, debanking, what's happening to this guy? This is an innocent man. And we have these sinister boards that sit.
That's what's worse. He's innocent.
Yeah, he's innocent. That's the key thing. But also, it's another reflection of how poorly veterans are treated in this country, and how, regrettably, and I think a lot of his fuel to his rant was basically fired up by the fact that illegal immigrants are getting looked after far better than our own veterans.
And there's this increasing idea that if your political worldview, your outlook is right of centre, then it is inappropriate for you to be around children. That seems to be the prevailing wisdom of this country now, that only left-wingers are safe to be around children. What on earth is going on, Alex?
Oh, it's been going on ages. I remember one of my very first sort of things in politics was having to go and defend a couple who had had their foster kids taken off them because they'd voted for UKIP. And that was like, seriously?
Sorry, that's not funny, but it's funny.
In 2012, this was going on. I mean, it was absolutely crazy. And, you know, what is so ridiculous is that guy has served his country, he's been in Iraq, so he kind of knows what the people from the Middle East are like better than all these leftists does. And there he is, probably worried about the safety of his daughter with all these undocumented men floating about in the country with their misogynistic views. So if anybody is the best placed person to defend children, it's that man.
Yeah.
And by the way,
what is the safest person for the children to be potentially coached by, because he will be vetted, he's got a verifiable background, and one would anticipate that he will have a greater degree of morals and ethic code potentially to apply.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, this guy should be allowed to coach a football team. And by the way, what he posted on social media, in essence, what he said, he was just, in essence, saying some migrants are scumbags.
No.
Well, here's the deal. Some migrants are scumbags, just like in any group of people, some of them will be Scumbag.
You've done it now, Kev. You'll never be allowed to coach a football team now.
We've got to put this in the broader context of he's one of just 30 people every single day in this country that is being arrested for something said online.
Yeah.
It is absolutely astonishing.
Wow, 30 a day.
On average, 30 a day are being arrested for things that are being said online.
And Keir Starmer says to Donald Trump, remember in the Oval, so, we've got the tradition of free speech. We're very proud of it. Starmer, you're putting people in prison for tweets. That's not free speech, you idiot. Let's move on, shall we? After that rather explosive statement by me. It's Phil Dave with his very first ever nomination. What do you got, Phil?
Right, OK, so I need you to cast your mind back, OK? Do you remember a bunch of morons running around terrorising people in orange T-shirts, and they went by the name of Just Stop Oil? They'd wreak havoc.
Just stop everything.
Stick themselves to roads. They'd start attacking things like priceless paintings. Well, guess what? The child of Just Stop Oil, namely a group called Take Back Power, have come to fruition. Now, this shower decided that one of the first actions they were going to take was go and invade Jewel House, which of course is where houses the crown jewels, and attack the display of the state's crown. Now, fortunately,
in the Tower of London, right?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Now, fortunately, Imperial State Crown was not damaged in the process, but these bunch of absolute morons decided that they were going to throw a load of crumble and custard over the display case.
Let's get the flavour right.
Sorry, apple crumble. There you go. Apple crumble over the display case of the state crown. I'm not entirely sure what their point was, why they even bothered to do it, but there you are. That's what they decided to do, and it would appear as though that apparently the state crown doesn't like apple crumble.
Well, their point, Alex, was it's very witty. Well, very good wordplay. Was Britain is crumbling.
I kind of agree with
Britain is crumbling.
I kind of agree. The thing is, ironically, I actually agree with some of the things they've campaigned on. They don't realise they're being right-wing. Democracy has crumbled. Correct. Well done. You've identified the fact that the Labour Party are basically a tyrannical regime. Then there's too many homeless people on the street. Correct. And we're putting the migrants in hotels instead. You know, actually, you could get on board with them in a little bit if they actually knew they were being right-wing. I just wish, do you know what? You try and mess about in other places in the world, and you've got, like, you know, you've got crown jewels, priceless paintings, and they've got some, like, snashy soldiers with some good old AK-47s. Can we just get back to this? Is the blimmin' Tower of London.
Well, maybe I can give you a little reassurance. In my day job, I have a lot of former military personnel who are protecting certain sites which could be targeted, may allegedly have been targeted by these clowns, who are a very, very welcoming reception committee for when they turn up.
Do you know what I think would be hilarious?
Where were they when the Apple Crumble squad
They won't pay me, Kev.
I would love it if we actually had soldiers with sort of like toy AK-47s that when people go and do these stunts, they line it over, go poof, and out comes like a little foam ball, and
Yeah.
That's what we should do.
And get that on video.
This was the same group that was throwing poo at Christmas trees at the Ritz, wasn't it?
Dropping the manure
at Christmas trees at the Ritz. This was actually relatively hygienic compared to some of the stuff that they get up to. Like, it really puts the great unwashed into context.
It really
when you
does.
Look at some of the stuff they get up
They
to.
had these big bags of manure, which they literally turned over into the Christmas tree in the middle of the Ritz.
I wish I was there. I'd like to taste
disgusting.
it. I'd like to say, I wonder what the crumble and the custard was like. I wonder what seriously. If I was there, I'd have definitely tried it. You know.
Is news not paying quite what they used to, Kev?
Well,
you can't afford dessert these days.
I have to get food wherever I can. You're absolutely right there, Will.
I'm sorry, I can't get my head around it. You've got people who are genuinely scared for the future of this country, who get sort of told, no, you're gonna antagonise these protesters. You can't go anywhere near them,
you can.
and stuff. And they get arrested in anticipation of what they might do.
You know
and yet, people who actually are allowed to go this far, only then will they get arrested.
You know what? You know how these groups dissolved. You know, what have we had? Extinction Rebellion, Just Stop Oil. And so on and so forth. They always dissolve when we start putting them in prison. So once you start giving them 3 years, 4 years, 5, they're all middle class. They can't stand the idea of doing bird. So this lot, Take Back Power, send them to jail where they will find that the apple crumble and custard isn't very nice. Let's move on. It is Will Kingston. What do you got, Will?
Yeah, look, there are many things that I hate about wokeism, but it is the joyless puritanism, perhaps, that is the most aggravating. And this has been on display this week from HSBC, who have officially banned all of their employees from wearing Christmas jumpers at any of their branches. Now, they've made the argument that, well, because that we are having...
Are these HSBC employees or these are just a random family? Oh, look! I see. Those are Christmas jumpers. I was wondering what you were talking about. But go on. Thank you so much for that illustration. Go on, Will.
The partners almost look like Siamese twins as well. They look very... Yeah. Anyway, that's
probably... like the look at that family.
Probably
AI family.
Probably beside the point.
Go on, Will.
Probably beside the point. The point is... They were saying, well, because we have serious conversations, because we talk about mortgages and other boring financial services stuff, we therefore need to have an air of professionalism in how we dress.
Nonsense.
Now, I would almost accept that argument, other than for the fact, Will, you are exactly right, it is BS.
Yeah.
They know perfectly well that the first Islamic person who comes in and complains about a Christmas jumper will lead to them having to sort out some sort of a problem. They are lying.
Well, that isn't going to happen. This is this sort of fear of Christmas, the word Christmas. This week, around about 10 schools, primary schools in London, who have always had traditionally Christmas jumper day for the kids. This year it's called winter jumper day. Their Christmas lunch this year is called festive lunch. So it's not just the banks. Now this is, and we know about Tesco's, evergreen trees, not Christmas trees, etc., etc. And it's not because Islamic people, Muslims or Jews will complain. It's a sort of preemptive fear that they might claim. Now, Islamic people, Muslims, Jews, Buddhists, Hindus, they're not children. They're not going to go, oh, look, there's the word Christmas. I'm furious. What a load of crap.
That's not true, because there are plenty of people who will take issue with it, and I'll present into evidence Sadiq Khan trying desperately to not sing carols at the Christmas carols.
Yeah, but he's not going to complain about a Christmas jumper at HSBC, is he?
But he's also very, very reticent to sing Hark the Herald Angels Sing.
And one of the saddest Christmas trees that the world could ever see.
It's so sad.
Well, that as well.
Well, can I say, as the panel's token jester Jew, I blooming love Christmas, okay? So say it loud.
Well, glad someone does.
I just want to, for a little bit of balance, not that is what we see on this show.
Did you say a bit of balance?
Yeah. I'm going to upset you.
Christmas is
bring balance.
I'm going to bring some
Christmas
balance.
isn't the only word that's banned in this show. Balance is as well.
I'm going to be quite controversial, which I kind of am on the side.
You?
No.
Controversial.
I'm on the side of HSBC.
Are you?
Yeah,
Why?
I am so over this stupid blimmin' Christmas. We're not
Why?
5 years old.
Yes, we
Alex, out of curiosity, you just bought a house. Who's your mortgage with, out of curiosity?
HSBC.
Coventry Building Society, can I just say? Love it.
Just checking.
Nice little, proper British company, not the Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation. But can I just say, no, I am done with the Christmas jumper thing. Kids should wear it, yes. You want to wear it with your family on Christmas Day, great. But all these gimps turning up in some sort of Ed Davey, betterment competition with blimmin' Rudolph, ho, ho, ho. Like, grow up.
Grinch. Thank
You're
you,
an
Grinch.
adult.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's a bank.
I would never wear. I would never dream of wearing a Christmas jumper. Okay, they're awful. But at the same time, it's the premise behind why they feel the need to ban it. I don't like that.
I'm on this because yours almost agreed with it, didn't you? Until you said it's the lies. So
Oh, do you think you know me that well, Alex?
I think I do know you that. By the way, I was at a party last night. Someone came up to me and congratulated me on my new Australian boyfriend, which apparently is you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Should we get out of the way?
I didn't realise we were dating, but they think we are.
Oh, well, clip it up.
Excuse me, everybody. This is Plank of the Week, not Blind Date. Let's go to break.
Live from London, it's Plank of the Week with Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back to part 2 of Plank of the Week. I am your host, Kevin O'Sullivan. What a panel we've got here. It's my go. So you can all shut up while I talk about Meghan Markle. Hooray! What a week she's had. Now, we can laugh about this, but there's a very serious side to it. A poor old dad, Thomas Markle Sr., there he is, 81 years old now. Since she sent him to Siberia, stopped talking to him just before her wedding to that ginger guy, what's his name, Harry, in 2018. So more than 7 years ago. She sent him to Coventry. Well, I won't ever speak to you again because he posed for some pictures for a paparazzi photographer. Why is he supposed to know any better? Come on, have a heart, Meghan. So she hasn't spoken to him for 7 years. He's very upset about this. Since then, He's had a heart attack, 2 strokes, and survived an earthquake only about a month ago. And he's living in a high-rise. He was lucky to survive. So he's had quite a time. He lives in the Philippines now with his elder son, Thomas Markle Jr. And last week, he was rushed to hospital, had to have surgery because he had a blood clot. And he had to have half of his leg amputated. And of course, the world basically said, come on, Meghan, you've got to call your dad. You cannot carry on like this. Now, she, in my view, saw this only in terms of publicity. Bad publicity, bad PR. Looks like I'll have to give him a ring or something. So, the first thing that happened last week was, this was around about Friday, she let it be known, yes, the ice is melting. I've sent him an email. We go, you sent your dad, who's had his leg amputated, he's on death's door. Doctor said he might not survive. You sent him an email. How do you know he got it? Apparently the message was, well, she sent it. It didn't get bounced back, so she assumed he'd got it. So that didn't really work. People said, well, that's rubbish. Then, next thing we find out over the weekend, Meghan's been trying to call hospitals around the Philippines. Hello, Meghan Markle here. Is my dad had his leg off in your hospital? Oh no, all right, I'll try the next one. Does that ring true to you? Not really. She could have got Thomas Markle Jr.'s phone number, phoned him, he'd have put her in touch with her dad, she could have spoken to him. But no. She doesn't do that. So what we now are being told is that due to her ringing round the hospitals in the Philippines, just doesn't ring true at all, does it? She's found out the hospital that he's in, and drum roll, she sent him a letter. Hey! Give him a ring! Get on the phone! Get on a bloody plane! Fly over and see your dad! He might not make it!
Did you put any of those kind of like edible flowers in there? Did you put a wax seal on it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the little moments that create joy.
Did she send it Royal Mail?
Kev, you've missed the latest update, which is even better. So she has been in touch with the US consulate in the Philippines and asked them to pass on a goodwill message.
Well, hang on a second, but she sent him a letter. Well, that was during her ring around. Now, she should get on a plane. She should get on a plane and go and see him. What she's got here, you're right, Will, referring to As Ever, or rather Meghan Markle, the holiday special, which was breaking on Netflix last week. So she's trying to say, oh, look, I've made some broccoli in the shape of a Christmas wreath, and here's how to wrap a parcel. It was an hour of my life I'll never get back.
Don't you think they're the most...
But whoa. So she's going, happy family, it's such a time for family, and so on and so forth, while her dad's dying. All she's got here is a PR crisis. She's looking at this as a PR crisis. And Meghan, if you're watching, I know you're a big fan of Plank of the Week. Unless you get on a plane and go and see your dad, your career is going to nosedive even further than it already has.
But just what a disgusting human being that she's even using her father, who is desperately ill in hospital in another country, as a publicity stunt.
Yeah.
This is the kind of individual she is.
She doesn't have a choice. But she's been dragged into this kicking and screaming because she knows this is PR disaster. This is a nightmare. She's got to look like she's a loving daughter at long last. The ice has melted, but it's not, sending a letter, ringing around the hospitals, which she didn't do, by the way.
Yeah, I think we share a masochistic streak because I also watched her holiday special, and my favourite part of it was when she said, the Christmas tree is your ability to tell your family's story.
Yeah.
And I was going, how are you going to show that? You're literally going to burn the Christmas tree to the ground, just like you burnt your relationships with every member of both sides of the family to the ground.
So actually, just quickly, we've got to move on, but she had all these guests turn up that she'd never met before. One of them was seriously, one of them was into her kitchen, and one of them was this Japanese tennis player called Naomi Osaka. And Meghan said, she's been saying, it's a great idea. I've got raw broccoli and I'm forming it into the shape of a Christmas wreath. And then she put this sort of yogurt in the middle of it. Naomi Osaka turns up. She looks like, what the hell am I doing here? and then Meghan goes, look, I made you a broccoli reef. And she had a look on her face saying, what, you expect me to eat this? It's just ridiculous.
I gotta watch it now. I want to watch it.
Turn it into a drinking game.
Definitely drinking game.
It is.
Every time he mentions family, then
No. I'll tell you exactly how many times she says the word I. It's not quite a round figure. It's 99. It's true. 99. She says I 99 times. Alex, it's you next.
Right, so this isn't a funny matter at all, actually. This is the story of a school teacher in London. And he's been sacked from his job. Why has he been sacked from his job? Because he said to the children in his class that this is a Christian country. Oh, last time I checked, it was. You know,
Officially.
the king being the head of the church and all that. But this all started because there was a kid in the class who kept washing his feet in the sink. And he's like, can you not wash your feet in the
Several of them,
sink?
I think. Several of them.
That's not okay. Please don't do that. And he said, I've got to do this, so I've got to wash my feet ready for the prayer time. And he said,
There's
look,
a bunch of them. Bunch of them in the boys' loo.
This isn't an Islamic school. There's one down the road.
That's right, yeah.
So, unfortunately, this school doesn't do that here, And of course, you can't do that. No, you can cancel Christmas. You can make sure that Regent Street has no decorations at Easter. No, you can do anything you like. But you must respect Islam.
Yeah, so he obviously said something kind of facetious. So he goes into the boys' loos, as Alex said, and there's a bunch of these Muslim kids washing their feet in the hand basin. And he said, as you say, he said, this is actually a Christian country. There's an Islamic school down the road. If you want to go to that, why don't you nip down there? And one of these little
foxtrot off there.
One of these little sneaks complained to the head teacher.
They love a grievance.
This guy, the story then is he's suspended from his job, primary school teacher. That's his career. Then he's sacked. And then he is deemed unsuitable to work with children. His whole career and life has been ruined by this.
He's lucky he doesn't have the beardy weedies with the boards come. Because that's what usually happens to school teachers, isn't it? You know, that they all turn up, don't they? They ring around the country, go, right, let's get a coach full of the Brotherhood down to carry some black cards and scare people that they never come out hiding.
He's lucky he's still not in hiding with the teacher from the Batley Grammar School, who is still in hiding to this day.
So that's what's that, 4 years ago now?
And counting.
Yeah. So, for the avoidance of doubt, for example, Iraq, you might like to know, is a secular state.
Yeah.
It does not have a state religion. Britain is not a secular state. We have a state religion, and that is the Church of England. So what this teacher's life was ruined for was saying something that is incontestably true.
Yes. There are 10 countries in Europe which actually have banned the hijab and the burqa.
Yeah, well, also, don't forget the Muslim countries. Tunisia, there are loads of Muslim countries.
Tunisia as well. There are many, many, many countries. And I mean,
lots of Muslim countries, though. That's the point.
Look, I've got no problem with Muslims who come in want to practice their religion privately, peacefully, great.
Totally.
Get on with it. But what is not okay is to then try and say to everyone else, we're the dominant culture,
and usurp.
We're the dominant religion, you have to do as we say. That is when you suddenly go, excuse me, there are 53 fully Islamic republics in the world. You might feel
here's
the
problem, Alex. It's not as much them saying that to us as us having this self-flagellating instinct to say, you know what, we've created the greatest civilization that the world has ever seen, and now we're going to throw it all away.
Let's destroy it. Oh, we're too powerful, didn't we? Oh, we made too many inventions and innovations. We brought too much peace and democracy to the world. Better get that one gone.
Rule of
But
law
the last
is
time I
overrated.
checked, Christianity was actually a religion based on quite good values. So I don't understand why we're ashamed of Christianity.
I love this idea that Christmas is somehow offensive when it's celebrating the birth of a little baby. And it's all like,
and goodwill to all men.
And goodwill to all men.
And in a really fun way.
Okay, listen, you were talking about morons, Phil. Talking of morons, Will, Geddes, you've got the Met.
Cheers, buddy.
Wow.
Thanks.
You've got the Met, please.
Yeah, I have indeed. So, we're talking more specifically within the Met Police, a very prestigious unit called the Flying Squad. It's 107 years old, this unit, responsible for many, many high-profile investigations and interdictions on various different criminal situations, from the Great Train Robbery right through to Banksy last year, the theft of the Banksy. Anyway, They have now been told, due to cuts, of which that also includes 1,700 police officers that have been removed, many of which are from the royal parks, which, to be honest, my local park, there are a lot of encampments within that local park. I wonder by whom. I'll let you guess. In addition to that, the counter service at the vast majority of all police stations in the Met have now been closed, apart from 2, and they have been told they are going to lose their firearms. And any firearm response is only going to be applied by SO19 and the other specialist firearm units. The flying squad have had firearms for a very particular reason. The fact that they're losing them because of cuts is just astounding.
It's probably just as well for them, because if they open fire, what happens is they get arrested, put in court, and then
and then inquest for about 5 years.
And they get their lives ruined, so they're probably quite relieved.
Well, I mean, I know a few guys who are in the unit, and I know a few guys who are in royalty and specialist protection, and I have to say, you know, they are not happy. I mean, we are in an increasingly violent times right now, and we're seeing times, whether it be from illegals that are coming in and causing problems, or whether it be national British people who are just having too much. And I've been predicting civil wars potentially on the cards for an awfully long time. We need our police officers, and I'm not saying generally should be armed, but the specialist units should be armed.
I think
they should be all.
They all armed.
As a guest in this country, I've always respected the concept of policing by consent.
Yeah.
Anyway, everybody, we have to go to break.
Live from London, it's Plank of the Week with Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back. It's part 3, Plank of the Week. And without further ado, our next nomination comes to you courtesy of our new boy, Phil Dave.
Right, OK, so I have a major issue in this country with the war on motorists. It's a thing, it absolutely exists. Drivers' lives are absolute misery at the moment because these tree-hugging lunatics are just obsessed with making sure that we walk everywhere and don't ever get in our car. But one council, I think, has really taken it above and beyond this time round, where they have decided to corner a chap whose car was parked perfectly legally, draw a disabled bay around it.
You're kidding.
And give him tickets.
So my understanding
He was away on holiday.
He went on holiday for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And sometime in that 3-week period, they literally have created.
So did they write disabled?
So they actually
just round the edge of the car.
They drew the bay around his car, which was parked legally, then decided to write the word disabled and give him a ticket or two for parking in a disabled bay. Is that 4 tickets?
Let's have a look at this CCTV. Check it out. It's
brilliant.
You know the guy in the high-vis jacket? Was he doing a duck impression? Is that the way he walked?
It's measuring it.
He's measuring it out.
We haven't got resources.
I know that, Will. I know that.
This guy was on holiday. Seriously, could you imagine? Like, even if he was watching on some sort of security camera whilst he was away, he would have thought this is going to be like a problem I've got to deal with when I get back. So any relaxation while he was away, that was ruined. And then any money that he would have potentially sort of had to save up for the holiday has been blown already. So how's he supposed to pay for 4 tickets?
Did
it's
he have
outrageous.
to pay these fines?
I believe that he's contesting.
Yeah. Did he have to pay the fines or not?
No, of course he wouldn't have.
No, he did. He successfully contested it. Tell me he succeeded. He's contesting.
My understanding is that he's still contesting. I don't think it's successful yet.
I'm willing to go out on a limb. He will not pay the fines. If he does, it's one way to fill the black hole, I guess. We're getting creative.
Well, this is Starmer's Britain. He'll end up getting fined. I promise you. I promise you.
Or in prison.
I'm sorry that the next shot wasn't the car being towed.
But it's not even like there were any restrictions.
You parked in a disabled bay.
But this is what's so it wasn't even like there were any restrictions on that road before. It's not like the lines were faded. It's Croydon Council decided to put a disabled bay there where his car was when he was away. And then, obviously not informing whoever the heck the wardens were, this chap did park legally before we decided to paint that disabled bay there, so you better give him a ticket.
Do you remember that Ashton Kutcher show, Punked, where they do stupid stuff like that? It reminded me of an episode of Punked.
But wait a minute. What's confusing me about this is, you know, they paint the lines around the car.
Yeah.
How did they get the disabled sign in?
because it's normally outside of a box. They do normally.
Where would they have put that?
Normally the
Is it outside
wording.
of the
Normally
box?
the wording is on the outside of the box. It's the symbol that's on the inside of the box. And I know this because I have family members who have disabled.
Can I just say that man clearly has parked his car outside his own house because he's got a camera.
How dare he?
Does he not have to recognise as disabled or something? So I don't know I was disabled. Better get myself on Motability. That's his parking place.
He wouldn't be able to get that car on Motability now.
I know, gone on the good days.
Well, let's move on to another car crash story. This is the story of the Grand Sapphire Hotel, coming at you courtesy of Will Kingston. What do you got, Will?
Also in Croydon as well.
Oh, Croydon's it's on a roll.
Yeah, Croydon's overrepresented in planks this week. This is the Grand Sapphire Hotel where Reform had booked their Christmas party. They'd sold tickets. It was meant to be, look, I've looked at the hotel. I don't think it was exactly going to be the event of the season, but still would have been a heck of a night nonetheless because of what I imagine would be some snot-nosed kids who work at the hotel. They had complaints because it's Reform, and obviously Reform are right-wing Nazi fascists, and therefore the hotel have caved and they've had to cancel their event. Now, here's my thinking. My classical liberalism, I try and stick to it. I try and allow myself to say we need to not respond to this sort of behaviour with bad behaviour our own. Stuff it. As soon as Reform gets in, shut this hotel down by any means necessary.
It looks like it's almost shut already.
Yeah, exactly right. I don't think it'll last till 2029. But I'm sick and tired of this sort of cancel culture stuff. And unfortunately now I think a bit of retribution is necessary.
Yeah, I agree.
The hotel said, in defence of the management, who I don't want to defend at all, they said it was a health and safety issue.
Yeah, they always say that.
Because they were getting so much abuse.
No, they might get a headache with a few hurty words.
Tice has responded saying that there was adequate security that was going to be there for the event, so that's a nonsense.
Yeah, that it's now illegal to be right of centre politically, isn't it, Alex?
Oh, yeah.
So, you, me, well, probably most of us here, we're lawbreakers because we're not left wing.
Yeah, far right. I'd like to be even further right if I could, because I don't think I can't get right enough. I'm always right, I'm never wrong. So let's just go full hog. What's further than far right?
Well, you.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go to break.
Live from London, it's Plank of the Week with Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back. This is the final section of this spectacular edition of Plank of the Week, and it's my go. I'm kind of confused because I'm sort of going to nominate Huw Edwards. He is the BBC's former in-house paedophile, of course, moved back to his native Wales. I haven't heard much of him, but all of a sudden this week, that moody picture you've just seen, black and white, moody, broody, appeared on social media, posted this on Facebook, Instagram. He reactivated his social media accounts. And the word is he's plotting a comeback. Well, I've got some news for you, Huw. You've got about as much chance of staging a showbiz comeback as your fellow paedophile, Gary Glitter. So you can forget about that. But if he's plotting a comeback, then yeah, he should be Plank of the Week. The people who I think are almost worse than him, once he put this up, right, on Facebook, all these people on Facebook, BBC employees, former BBC employees going, good on you, Huw, looking good, Huw. One of them said, the way the BBC treated you was a disgrace. How was the BBC supposed to treat a convicted paedophile? Nicely? In fact, I do think they treated him far too nicely. Are
you serious? There are actually supporters of him?
Yeah. On Facebook, there are just reams of them. Loads of people still working for the BBC. One guy was the former head of music of BBC Wales. It's some guy called Longley, I seem to remember. He said, yeah, I just want to say, Huw, we've met a few times, and best of luck. And I want to say it was a disgrace the way the BBC treated you. He's a paedophile.
I think we should check their hard drives as well.
He's a convicted paedophile. So I'm kind of torn about whether or not it should be Huw Edwards or his mates in the BBC who don't seem to understand the gravity of his crime. Paedophiles notoriously never feel they've done much wrong. They never understand that the depth of their depravity and their crime. But people who aren't paedophiles ought to understand it. So we'll stick with Huw Edwards, but we need to talk about these other BBC people, don't we?
I mean, this is the thing. The BBC is a love infest when it comes to the presenters. Presenters can do no wrong at the BBC.
Yeah.
They're absolutely
Deities,
worshipped. Yeah, deities. And so, the deification of Huw Edwards, you've got a load of cultish followers, haven't you? It's just normal. That's what the
when
BBC's
I used to do a lot of work at the BBC when I was a TV critic, so they were always there. So I used to go in there and they used to send these kids down to pick you up in reception, and they would say, "Are you the talent?" And I go, and that is the word for anyone who speaks into a microphone at the BBC. Is the
Do you know what?
talent.
Here's something good. So, I was saying I was at the BBC just yesterday. So I wanted to make a cup of tea. I wanted a cup of tea because I was waiting in the green room watching Bardella do his interview. And the floor manager's like, "Here you go, come with me. I'll take you to I'll make you a cup of tea." And as we walked around, all the floor managers at the BBC were stopping going, "I like you, keep up the good work."
Yeah.
And this one woman comes up to me and she goes, "I can't tell anyone this, I can't say this out loud, but I think you're great." Watch your show. You know what it's like at the BBC. They were all like, literally, all the runners and all the sort of lower paid staff hate that place.
Yeah, well, we tend to corporately hate the BBC, which is a little unfair to the 30,000 or so people who work there, because many of them are benign. I know this, having done a lot of work for them. They are benign and reasonable people working for an organisation that they know is clinically insane. They know it. They know that they are trapped in this madhouse, our stupid, left-wing, naive, ridiculous state broadcaster that we cannot pay for too much longer, if you ask me.
I think the term "working" may be taking it a tad too far for many of those 30,000 people.
Well, it's overstaffed to say the least. Listen, that is effectively the end of the show. So a big thanks to Will Kingston, Phil Dave, Will Geddes, and Alex Phillips, and me. And I'm going to pick the winner now. And I promise you, this is not a fix, but I do think you're great nominations. By the way, Croydon Council, very strong contender. But I'm going to have to say it's Meghan Markle. Go and see your dad. Get on an aeroplane, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. What sort of a person are you? So, Meghan Markle, you are Plank of the Week. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye for now.